Friendly staff, delicious chicken, and Christian values. That's the Chick-fil-A most people know. But behind those crispy waffle fries and polite "my pleasure" replies lies a history of anti-LGBTQ+ donations, shocking labor violations, and menu items packed with chemicals that'll make your jaw drop. Did America's favorite chicken restaurant really pay some workers with food vouchers instead of actual money? How has a company that's closed on Sundays become one of the most controversial yet successful fast food chains in America? Let's go back to where it all started to find out. Chick-fil-A's story began in 1946 when S. Truett Cathy opened a tiny diner called the Dwarf Grill in Hapeville, Georgia. It wasn't anything fancy, just a simple restaurant near a Ford factory, but Cathy knew how to make food that kept customers coming back. The real game changer came when he figured out a pressure frying method that let chicken cook as fast as a hamburger, something nobody thought possible back then. This innovation led to Chick-fil-A's iconic chicken sandwich, a recipe that would turn his small business into a fast food empire. In 1967, Cathy launched the first official Chick-fil-A in Atlanta, and from day one, he ran everything based on his deep Christian beliefs. You can see this most clearly in the company's famous Sunday closure policy, a rule they still follow today. Cathy believed Sundays were for rest and worship, not work. Some customers respect this stance, but others find it frustrating and limiting for workers who might want to earn extra money on weekends. Chick-fil-A grew quickly in the 70s and 80s, but they didn't copy McDonald's or Burger King's standalone restaurant model. Instead, they focused on shopping mall locations, a strategy that helped them become a household name across the South by the 90s. They eventually moved to standalone drive-thru spots, fueling even more growth. Even with way fewer locations than competitors like KFC, Chick-fil-A quickly became America's most profitable chicken chain. But this rapid rise to the top didn't come without serious issues. While their customer service and food quality won praise, trouble was brewing beneath the surface, and it wouldn't be long before their Christian values would spark a nationwide controversy that would both hurt and help the company in ways nobody could have predicted. The rise and turning point. Chick-fil-A's success isn't just about their food, it's about the incredible loyalty they've built with customers over decades. The company mastered the art of making customers feel valued, with genuinely friendly service, easy mobile ordering, and limited time menu items that create instant buzz. But this loyalty would soon be tested in a very public way. The chain's real turning point came in the early 2010s when people discovered that the Chick-fil-A Foundation had been funneling millions into organizations with anti-LGBTQ+ agendas. They weren't just supporting any Christian groups, they were backing organizations like the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, which enforce strict sexual purity policies condemning same-sex relationships, and even Exodus International, a group that promoted harmful conversion therapy. These revelations caused concern, but the real explosion happened in 2012 when then CEO Dan Cathy publicly stated his opposition to same-sex marriage. His comments confirmed what activists had suspected all along. Chick-fil-A wasn't just a bystander in the fight for LGBTQ+ rights, they were actively funding efforts to undermine them. Downfall Event 1: the anti-LGBTQ+ controversy. The response to Dan Cathy's comments was swift and fierce. Activists, celebrities, and allies across the country launched boycotts, urging people to stop spending money at a company funding discrimination. Cities like San Antonio and Boston made moves to block Chick-fil-A's expansion, and universities like Rider University rejected having the chain on campus, citing concerns about company values. But if LGBTQ+ supporters thought their boycott would hurt the company, they were in for a surprise. The backlash against Chick-fil-A sparked a counter-movement. Conservative leaders like Mike Huckabee announced Chick-fil-A Appreciation Day, and suddenly, the chicken chain became ground zero in America's culture war. Long lines of supporters, many motivated more by politics than a craving for fried chicken, wrapped around store entrances to show their support for the company's Christian values. Far from hurting Chick-fil-A's business, the controversy actually boosted their sales. Facing ongoing criticism, Chick-fil-A finally took a step that some saw as damage control. In 2019, they announced they'd stop donating to the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and the Salvation Army, pivoting instead to more neutral charities focused on education, homelessness, and hunger relief. This move seemed to signal a change, a hint that Chick-fil-A was listening to LGBTQ+ concerns and trying to step back from divisive politics. But was it genuine? Even with this public pivot, skepticism remained strong. Many critics believed Chick-fil-A's supposed change was more about improving their image than genuinely genuinely shifting their values. While the company might have distanced itself from certain organizations, people wonder if their money is still flowing to similar groups through less visible channels. This suspicion is fueled by the fact that Cathy, even after stepping down as CEO, continues to donate to the National Christian Charitable Foundation, a group that still supports anti-LGBTQ+ legislative efforts. But if you thought this controversy was Chick-fil-A's only problem, just wait until you hear about what's been happening behind the kitchen doors. Downfall Event 2: Harsh working conditions and labor violations. Former and current Chick-fil-A employees have shared stories that paint a very different picture than the company's friendly public image. One major issue: the intense workload, especially during rush periods. Chick-fil-A's popularity means massive customer volume, and workers often juggle multiple roles simultaneously under extreme pressure. Many report working through breaks just to keep up, with managers prioritizing speed and efficiency over employee well-being. Unlike other fast food places where workers rotate between customer service and kitchen duties, Chick-fil-A typically keeps employees locked in demanding positions for their entire shift. The strict rules make work-life balance nearly impossible. Employees describe a culture where managers expect total dedication to the job, even at the expense of personal responsibilities. Requesting time off can be an uphill battle, with some locations making workers feel guilty for putting their lives before their work. It's not uncommon to hear about managers denying time off requests for family emergencies or important life events. Chick-fil-A's emphasis on rigid scheduling makes it difficult for workers to have any say in their hours, a serious problem for students and parents trying to balance multiple responsibilities. What makes these conditions even more troubling is that Chick-fil-A isn't a struggling business. They're one of the highest earning fast food chains in the country, with locations outperforming McDonald's and Burger King in annual sales. Despite this financial success, they often pay workers barely above minimum wage, even in areas where the cost of living has skyrocketed. Some locations offer bonuses and incentives, but these are typically tied to demanding performance metrics that force employees to push themselves to the limit just to qualify. The problems go beyond low pay and long hours. Some franchise owners have crossed into outright exploitation. In 2022, a North Carolina Chick-fil-A made headlines for violating labor laws after it was caught paying workers with meal vouchers instead of actual wages. Yes, you heard that right. Employees were being paid with chicken sandwiches instead of money. This blatant disregard for labor regulations caused outrage, but the fact that it happened at all raises serious questions about how Chick-fil-A oversees its franchise operations. And this wasn't an isolated incident. Other locations have been accused of similar abuses, from failing to pay overtime to retaliating against workers who speak up. And if you think that's bad, wait until you hear what's actually in that fresh chicken sandwich you're eating. Downfall Event 3: The truth about fresh ingredients. Despite Chick-fil-A's marketing about hand-breaded chicken and real ingredients, many of their menu items are loaded with preservatives, additives, and processed components that make them just as unhealthy as any other fast food meal. Their fresh image might just be clever marketing. One surprising ingredient in Chick-fil-A's chicken: monosodium glutamate, MSG, a flavor enhancer that's been controversial for its potential health effects. While the FDA considers MSG safe, some studies have linked it to headaches, nausea, and increased appetite that can lead to overeating. In simple terms, Chick-fil-A isn't just selling you a chicken sandwich, they're selling one designed to make you crave more. For a company that positions itself as a healthier choice, the use of MSG in their signature chicken raises questions about how natural their food really is. And MSG is just the beginning. Chick-fil-A's menu is filled with preservatives and artificial ingredients, many serving no purpose beyond extending shelf life rather than enhancing quality. Take their famous chicken fillets, for example. While the company loves showing employees hand-breading fresh pieces of meat, they don't mention that this chicken has already been soaked in a mixture of preservatives before it reaches the kitchen. The brining process helps keep the meat juicy and flavorful, but it also means it can sit out longer before cooking, making it quite different from the fresh, minimally processed image the company promotes. Then there's the issue with Chick-fil-A's fresh salads, a menu option heavily marketed to health-conscious consumers. Though they appear made to order, former employees have revealed the truth about backroom practices. Many report that salads are batch prepared hours before serving, meaning customers who think they're getting a fresh, made-to-order meal are actually eating greens that have been sitting in refrigeration all day. In some cases, slow-moving salads are refreshed to appear newer than they really are. This revelation is particularly troubling given Chick-fil-A's premium menu prices. If customers are paying more for fresh food, shouldn't they actually be getting it? So here's what we've learned. Behind Chick-fil-A's friendly service and delicious food lies a company with a controversial past of anti-LGBTQ+ donations, troubling labor practices, and menu items that aren't nearly as fresh as they claim. Does this mean you should never eat there again? That's for you to decide. Some people are willing to overlook these issues for a tasty meal, while others can't feel good about supporting a brand with this kind of track record. What's clear is that Chick-fil-A is more than just another fast food chain. It's a company with a carefully crafted image that doesn't always match what happens behind the scenes. If this video helped you learn something new about Chick-fil-A, hit that like button and subscribe for more eye-opening food industry exposés. I'm already working on my next video about another beloved restaurant chain that's hiding some shocking secrets. Let me know in the comments if you're still eating at Chick-fil-A after watching this, and share any experiences you've had working there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.